Thank you.
Mr. President, what do you want to do about the Mr.
Trade
President?
deal with China, one that lowers the U.S. trade deficit with China, and how soon will it be before we can judge this particular trade deal?
Well, I think a trade deal with China is good for the world. It's good for us and China, but it's good also for the world. I think it's very important. We'll see if it happens. We've never done a deal like this with China, and it's a very unique set of circumstances, but it's a massive deal. Could be one of the, I guess it is, if you think about it, the biggest deal ever made. There can't be a deal like this. No matter where you look, there can't be a deal like this. This is the granddaddy of them all. And we'll see if it happens. It's got a very, very good chance of happening. I think that it will be great for both countries. But it will be a much fairer deal for us because over the years we've lost a lot of money to China. China's done very well. And I don't blame China. I say it all the time. I don't blame China. I blame the people that sat right at this desk. They should have never allowed that to happen. So it will bring a lot of things back. I think it'll be great for the United States. I think it's going to be hopefully really good for China, too. It's going to be good for everybody. Yeah.
What's still left to agree to, sir? What are the
Well, we have things. We're talking intellectual property protection and theft, talking about certain tariffs. It's very important that certain elements of the tariff that is in discussion right now. We have a number of things, but we've also agreed to far more than we have left to agree to. And in fact, I think I can say that some of the toughest things have been agreed to. We have some things that are actually easier right now that we're doing. But it's a very, very, using a word that I don't like using too often, but it's a very, very comprehensive deal. It's very complete. We discuss everything. We talk about everything. When we first started, people would say, well, you'll never talk about intellectual property. You'll never talk about a vast array of elements. Every one of them is not only talked about, but highly negotiated. And whether it's our farmers or our technology people, all of them will be really happy. And I think China's going to be very happy, too.
What's your plan right now on tariffs? What would you like to see happen with tariffs?
Well, I don't want to say that to you, but I'm going to be discussing that with the Vice Premier in about 5 minutes, as soon as you leave. But just a lot of good things are happening. A lot of really great things are happening. And I think very important is the relationship with China is very strong, probably the strongest it's ever been in a sense, and yet we're negotiating a strong deal. But I think our relationship is at a point that's about at the highest it's been, and that's not a bad thing. That's a very good.
Yes.
Yes.
Is there any deadlines for negotiation, and do you plan to remove all tariffs to respond to the transcription?
Well, when you say negotiation, he's a very tough negotiator, and so is President Xi. But I mean, it's so nice when I see the fentanyl, because that's been so. We lost 77,000 people due to fentanyl. And that was a very important thing, and I really appreciate it. And this is before the deal is done. This is something that China is doing before the deal is done. I think you're going to see a big impact, a tremendous impact. Yes, ma'am.
Mr. President, if the deal is reached, what kind of benefit will it bring for both countries?
Say it again.
If there is a deal, what kind of benefit will it bring for both countries?
Well, I think it's going to be great for China in that China will continue to trade with the United States. I mean, otherwise it would be very tough for us to allow that to happen. And China's by far biggest trading partner. They are a tremendous trading partner in the other way too, from our standpoint. But it'll be a great deal for China's because we're going to continue to deal. We're going to continue to have a relationship in terms of trade. Otherwise, it would be very tough to do that in a large way, as we have in the past, because it was a very one-sided thing. From our standpoint, we love dealing with them. They have certain products that are tremendous. They have certain pricing advantages that we take advantage of. A lot of advantages, and I think just the relationships between the two countries are it's very strong, and that's an important element of what we're doing, maintaining the great relationship, which perhaps we would maintain anyway, but certainly we maintain that with a deal like this. This will be a really terrific, very unique deal. This is an epic deal, historic. if it happens. We'll see what happens. Yeah.
Are you sending Herman Cain to the Fed, sir? And are you looking for people who
I've
are...
recommended Herman Cain. He's a very a terrific man, a terrific person. He's a friend of mine. I have recommended him highly for the Fed. I've told my folks that that's the man, and he's doing some pre-checking now, and I would imagine he'd be in great shape. I find Herman to be an outstanding person, a truly outstanding individual. I would think he would do very well there. Yes?
Mr. President, is there still an imminent threat of you potentially closing the border, or is it everything for immigration?
Well, you know, Mexico has
Mexico
been doing a very good job the last 3 or 4 days since we talked about closing the border, which is very real. But what's more real initially is tariffs on the cars coming in, a 25% tariff on the cars being made in Mexico coming in. You know, Mexico, prior to my becoming president, took close to 30% of our car business. Okay, that's a lot. That's a big, big chunk. They did that under NAFTA. And for years I've been talking about it. I think NAFTA is one of the worst deals ever made, one of the worst trade deals ever made, maybe the worst. And Mexico took a big chunk of our car business, which I don't like, and I haven't liked, and I've spoken about it long and hard, long before I became president, when I was a civilian, so to speak. And I will say this, that Mexico in the last 4 days has really done a great job on their southern border with Honduras, with Guatemala, with El Salvador, of grabbing and taking and bringing people back to their countries because they're not going to come to our country. We're not going to allow it. What's happened on our southern border is a disgrace.